Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. There are even more quality of life improvements for Alpha 3.20, which is currently in Wave 3, maybe even Wave 4 of its PTU by the time you see this. There's also been another PTU patch which we'll quickly cover, as well as a quick summary of the week's news. Alpha 3.20, that's in Wave 3 PTU. It's going to Wave 4, probably by the time you've seen this video. That means a load more people will have access. Wave 5, just so you are aware, is open PTU. Basically, everyone can try that patch as long as they've got a game package. Then, after that, the patch will go live, and it looks like, yes, we should have 3.20 live by the end of September, which is great, because that means Cloud Imperium are sort of on target. In the latest PTU patch, there was a load of important quality of life improvements and updates. HDR. High dynamic range is now enabled for players with a compatible monitor. This is activated in Windows by going to Windows Display Settings and selecting Use HDR, then open Star Citizen and select HDR in the Graphics tab. People have requested that for a long time. They've updated key bindings for opening Mobilglass and scanning. Mobilglass is now opened and closed with tab while on foot, while still F1 in ship's cockpit, though this will be tab in a later build. Scanning is now hold down V. In Arena Commander, the scoreboard is tab again. So, I hate Cloud Imperium games changing bindings seemingly randomly. So, we got some new functionality, change all the old bindings to something else. That's smart. Don't put the new stuff on new keys or more complex bindings. Do that with the old stuff that's important. Absolutely infuriating, at least for me. Some other people might be like, oh no, it makes sense because of some of the new stuff they've put on those other keys or whatever. Enough of my ranting. MFD persistence. So this is multi-function displays, and custom vehicle MFD selections should now persist for as long as you keep the vehicle intact and alive. Players should only have to set MFD menu selection once per vehicle, but losing an insurance claiming it will create a new vehicle, thus losing the saved custom MFD information. Again, super useful. People have wanted that for ages, but obviously try not to lose your vehicle or reclaim it. Mobilglass readability. The Mobilglass now has darker underlay to improve readability across different locations, and vehicle and ship HUDs and other selective UI is now hidden while opening the Mobilglass in a pilot seat. Really great. Loads of awesome things there, and just to make the game a little better. They also made several improvements to server performance. They made further planetary performance optimizations and engine rendering performance improvements as well. 3.20 is shaping up to be a really nice polished patch, and there was an Alpha 3.20 patch watch quality of life post. Cloud Imperium are currently amidst a global push to seek out and implement a variety of quality of life fixes and changes. This is part of an ongoing effort to improve the greater gameplay experience, and we expect to provide many more similar updates in patches ahead. So let's dive into some changes you can expect to find or were just released on the PTU for Alpha 3.20 and beyond what's already been mentioned, because obviously we just had a load in the last couple of patches that we've talked about as well. Blocked calls. They've added the option in the game settings to restrict comms calls to only members of your friends list, and they've also added options to enable friend request notifications and let you choose to receive party invite notifications and currency transfer notifications from anyone or just from friends only. Really good stuff there. There was loads of exploits and stuff back in the day with being able to call people and work out where their location was and things like that, but I want in my hands the tools to be able to go, I don't have to deal with this person, or this person's being annoying. I want to be able to mute them effectively. I want to be able to go, no, I don't want you to keep on giving me requests or whatever, or I want to play this solo at the moment, or whatever. Just having those options there is fantastic. Aligned Quantum HUDs. A significant effort to align the Quantum HUDs to the crosshairs of all ships was completed by the ship content team and UI teams. The HUD is now also lighter and looks less like a reticle, making lining up for quantum travel easier. This is necessary as the Quantum HUD is not projected, so it's impossible to align perfectly. However, there will be cockpit overlaps on some notable ships, including the Drake Cutlass. This is a compromise to ensure the quantum travel target is not offset on any ship. Anti-combat logging. Now, when quitting the game while in combat or having been recently in combat, the player's avatar and his ship and all that sort of jazz will remain for a short time in the verse. This prevents players from logging out and instantly disappearing, potentially robbing players of a kill. Should the player use exit to main menu or access the game options, they will be warned that they are still considered to be in combat. People have complained about combat logging for ages. People literally Alt F4ing when they're sort of in PvP and they don't want to be, or they're worried about losing. It should make escorts and bounty hunters and all that sort of stuff a lot more legitimate, along with piracy, actually more of a rounded gameplay loop. But let's see what actually happens in the patch, right? Empty RMC canisters. The filler stations on board the Drake, Vulture and Aegis Reclaimer can now also create empty RMC canisters for the hull scraping multi-tool, which has been essential but weren't there. So now you can dispense one of those empty canisters, put it in your multi-tool, and then go and do some salvaging with those multi-tools. Some great quality of life improvements to the Argo Mole as well. You can now press M to activate a mining HUD that shows the following details when you're in the pilot seat, giving you a load of contextual information so that you can work out how to best position your mole. So this gives you the following details: current cargo content of the mole, current charge rate of the targeted rock, composition of the targeted rock, distance to the rock, and danger zone indicator. So you don't have all the abilities to mine from the pilot seat, but you do have a lot of ability to coordinate mining now. Those quality of life updates and fixes there, absolutely fantastic. Really good job from CIG. Wanted to see that stuff in game for ages. And hopefully 3.20, along with fixes to like the invisible bug, or at least that appears to be largely dealt with. Hopefully they're going to be able to deal with desync, or at least get it into a good state. It looks like Cloud Imperium have hugely recovered from the problems they had with the early 3.19 build and 3.18 builds, so the first sort of 5 months of the year, and we had terrible problems with Star Citizen. This is looking to make Star Citizen significantly more playable again. Some other stuff that happened throughout the week inside Star Citizen, basically talked about racing and the Mirai Fury LX, which is a new racing variant of the Fury coming to Alpha 3.20. It's got no weapons, but it has got more thrusters, racing wings, and paint job. It's going to be very, very fast and agile and very small. In Star Citizen Live, they looked at Arena Commander gameplay and features coming to Alpha 3.20, but it's all Arena Commander based. Experimental modes will rotate and change through a patch cycle. These are basically just experimental game modes for Arena Commander. Typically, there'll only be one or a couple available at a time, but in the PTU, they're sort of testing loads at once. These modes are to prove out features and game modes and sort of add a bit of spice to Arena Commander. They talked and played some Gun Rush, which is free-for-all, get kills with a weapon. Every time you get a kill, you get a new weapon, work your way through the 16 weapons to win. They also played some Squadron Battle, Tank Battle. There was a gravity floating tank bug because they were on Yella. It was sort of exacerbated because they were on Yella, but apparently that bug's been fixed since. They played some racing. They also did some Vandal Swarm Master Modes testing as well. So they're really happy to get Master Modes in 3.20. It's just the Gladius in Master Modes at the moment, and for Vandal Swarm Master Modes, it's endless waves of Vandal, so you have to sort of survive and get as many points as you can. Some modes have unlocks, you can get like a badge if you win them. They will show you at the bottom right if they have a badge available that you don't have yet. You will be able to apply skins to your vehicles and ships in Arena Commander at some point as well, which is great to hear. This week's sneak peek is again of the San Tok Yai, the Xi'an medium fighter. This, along with the Temporal Storm, are just constantly shown off in sneak peeks from Cloud Imperium. I'm looking forward to the San Tok Yai and the Katu Al having their sort of flight model nailed down, because they are supposed to be relatively unique and very strafey compared to the other ships. So I'm really looking forward to all of that sort of coming together and being finalized eventually. One last thing I want to mention is the ship showdown has completed. It's done. The Corsair, Drake Corsair, was announced king of ships, so that will be available for everyone to fly. So you free fly it until the 30th of September. It is a fantastic multi-role, multi-crew, mainly focused at exploration ship, but in Star Citizen as it stands at the moment, it is a fantastic little bit of everything mission runner. Boom! That's it for your Star Citizen updates at the moment. I am playing Starfield. It took me 14 hours to get to a bit where I deem it fun and worth playing, but once I got there, I went, oh, this is actually all right. It has an intriguing new game plus, but I don't think it's going to satisfy a lot of Star Citizen players or No Man's Sky players who will play those games for different things that Starfield doesn't give them. Will players want to invest a huge amount of time to get into Starfield? I think a lot of people will. It's a fun game, though the spaceship combat sucks. And I am saying this quite seriously. I prefer the spaceship combat in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare than I do in Starfield at the moment. Maybe I'm missing something. Anyway, I would really like to know your experiences with Starfield if you're playing it. Do you think it's great? Think it's terrible? Have you started playing it and been like, oh, it didn't grab me? Because it really didn't grab me for the first 10 hours. But then I plowed through and I went, oh, actually, no, it's quite intriguing. What do you think of all of those quality of life updates that Cloud Imperium are putting into 3.20? Do you think that 3.20 looks like a good build? I know it hasn't got a huge amount of stuff for the persistent universe this time. Obviously, there's a lot of arena commander features and updates there. There's a reasonable amount for the persistent universe, though. So obviously, the cargo stuff and the Hull C, a load of new missions, and they're updating a load of those new missions, and it's the sort of getting persistent entity streaming into a good state. Lots and lots of optimizations and sort of quality of life stuff. Are you liking that, or do you think it hasn't got enough meat to it? What do you think of the Fury LX? Is it a ship that you're excited about, or do you like, just an excuse for Cloud Imperium to sell another ship? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. NordVPN is amazing and you should buy it. It's so useful, it's easier to tell you what it can't do. NordVPN can't do your taxes. Nord, how much do I owe for VAT? NordVPN can't help you buy more spaceships. Nord, add a terrapin to my shopping cart. NordVPN can't cook for you. No, my cabbages! And NordVPN can't be your girlfriend. Can't or won't NordVPN, if that is your real name. NordVPN.com/BoredGamer will help you connect to the internet more safely, securely, and anonymously, with greater access to the content you want. But can I teach it to love? Links below for the best NordVPN deals around. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and for September, that's for the Drake Corsair, that fantastic exploration ship. Not only will you be able to explore the verse with it, but the ship is perfectly competent at a huge range of gameplay, and is a fantastic mission-running ship. You can use it for cargo, you can put some vehicles in there. It's reasonably good in a fight, one of the true multi-role, multi-crew ships. To be in for a chance of winning one of those, just comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details down below. Also down below are links to be able to support the channel more. There's the join button, making you one of my elite channel members. You'll get occasional exclusive content. There's also YouTube badges and emotes to show your support. There's also Patreon for those of you that prefer that. We try to mirror the rewards on there as well. But just people liking, subscribing, and sharing these videos goes a long way. A heartfelt thank you to everyone that watched the video. I hope you have a great September, and I'll see you in the verse.